If you knew me before, you wouldn't even look my way. If I had the nerve to speak, you wouldn't hear what I say. Time has come and gone so fast, we're not who we used to be.
And welcome back to Sullivan's Unheard Voices. I'm here with Walter. Walter, you and I sort of were connected recently, and I had no idea about your backstory. And I just had to talk to you about it when I started hearing about like how you got that pathway into music. Like, how did you start getting into music in general?
Started getting into music when I started discovering girls,
Yeah.
as most of us do.
Yeah.
Sixth grade, going from elementary to junior high school. I was always a lover of all different styles of music, all different genres. I've dabbled into everything. I was even in a country band when I lived in Texas.
I love it.
So, being that kind of musical nerd, if you will, it kind of cast a shadow over me during junior high school, because it was like, the racial wars of all the music going on back then, rock versus disco.
Yeah.
And disco sucks, rock rules, disco sucks. All the kids printing those messages on their peaches and stuff, and I'm in the middle always going, I like them both. Can't we all just get along? And so
yeah, it's strange how they have that clear like line in the sand too. Like if you like one genre, I don't understand how you can. I never understood that either.
Yeah,
it just seems like limiting yourself as a human if you're just only listening to one subset of music. It's just there's so much more out there.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And my background with my brother growing up with Jimi Hendrix is what kind of pushed me towards that direction, because he got a lot of ridicule for being a black man in rock and roll music. And me working in the clubs in the early 90s, I used to work at the Rock Candy, the Off Ramp, the Vogue, all those Seattle clubs that were world famous for ushering in the grunge era.
Yeah.
But, there was not a lot of color in those bands, so, and, I was always in the middle going, I dig it, let's form together rock bands, metal bands, jazz bands. I grew up playing the saxophone. So, I've always delved into all different styles of music.
And so how young were you when you picked up the saxophone?
Picked up the saxophone at the age of 12, but that was not my first interest.
Oh, interesting. What was your first instrument?
My first instrument was the piano. I started taking piano lessons at the age of 7. But she was old woman, and she had this thing where anytime you'd make a mistake, right? Anytime you make a mistake, she'd take a pencil and like hit your knuckles. It's like really hard, 7-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And so that kind of turned me off the piano for a while. But interesting thing, I don't know, this is kind of morbid, but after that piano teacher was hitting my hands with the pencil, I was like, old lady, I wish she was dead,
Yeah.
because she's hitting my hand with the pencil. And a week later, she died of a heart attack.
Oh, no.
Freaked me the heck out, man.
I can only imagine. Yeah. And then how much time passed before you picked up the saxophone?
Yeah. I was 7, and then I was 12 by the time I started picking up the saxophone, got back into music after that tragic story.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you were able to get over that tragedy and sort of get back into music too.
Yeah, I mean, music has always been sort of therapy for me,
Yeah.
whenever I get depressed, I always, go into my studio and play my piano, or, get together with my bandmates, and, I'm in various different bands. And so, yeah, we get together with them. And like I said, it's my therapy. Whenever I get any sort of depression, I play music and then it goes away.
And I love that because like that's my outlet as well. Like I can't play. So my outlet is to listen and enjoy and consume.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for music, I don't know how far off I would be in life. Just because, as somebody who's on the autism spectrum, I struggle communicating emotions. But there's a song for that.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter what situation I'm in life, there's a song that's been through that same situation before. So with music, I'm able to communicate emotions. I'm able to communicate feelings in a way that I'm never able to outside of music. And I've always been a fan because of that.
I agree. I completely agree. That's amazing, though.
And so like when you started, so you started on the saxophone, and then was there a point where you realized like, I'm actually pretty good at this?
Yeah, I started getting pretty good at saxophone. Like I said, I got into playing the saxophone. I got into the concert band, jazz band. I formed my own little jazz trio band.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I started getting really good by my junior year. And then by my senior year, I discovered rock and roll and heavy metal and started singing, getting into singing. And
that's awesome.
Went from there.
And did you find it hard to sort of pick up the singing aspect of it?
No, I've always been a great singer, but there were times going through puberty, I had the Peter Brady voice changing.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So there was a while there I couldn't sing very well because my voice was constantly changing, but I've always been a great singer. I started singing probably at the age of 3. I guess, I said piano was my first instrument, but I guess vocals were probably my first instrument if you look at vocals as an instrument.
And so when you started doing these heavy metal bands and you sort of traditionally sort of went that direction, did you find that most of the spaces were welcoming of you being in metal at the time?
No.
See, that's unfortunate.
No, that's it, just it, because I got flack from both sides, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. I'd get flack from, my white counterparts that would be like, oh, yeah, black man into heavy metal, blah, 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 blah. And, I'd get flack from my black counterparts being like, oh, you listening to that devil music, blah, 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 so yeah, it was kind of a struggle. And from what I understand, Jimi Hendrix went through a lot of that same stuff. And so that even brought me closer to doing rock music and guitars, getting into guitars and hard rock and heavy metal and that type of stuff, even though Jimmy wasn't really heavy metal, but he kind of was at that particular time.
Oh, yeah. So. Uh-huh. Yeah, especially like with the ones like with Purple Haze and a couple other ones. It's like you can see the roots of heavy metal in his music.
Yeah.
And I know so many heavy metal musicians that are really heavily influenced by his music too.
Yeah.
It's just one of those once in a lifetime experiences where like you see that person on stage and you're like, you're in a different world. You're in a different world.
Yeah, man.
And so when you started though in the heavy metal realm, and you were like, when was that? Like the 90s?
That was the late 80s, early 90s. I was working for Marriott at Seattle Pacific University. They had Marriott doing their food service, and there was a guy there in the dinner department, the kitchen dinner department, and he was a guitar player, and he had a couple of other friends that were guitar players and bass players. And one night he was like, "Yeah, come hang out. You know, are you a singer?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah," because I was constantly singing around the kitchen and stuff. That was kind of my thing, you know. And he was like, "Yeah, come over and jam." And I met a couple of friends, a guitar player and a bass player, who ended up forming with me my first band that ever actually did anything professionally, going out and playing. And that band was called Walter Ego.
Gotcha. Okay. And so how long were you in Walter Ego?
Walter Ego was a band on and off. Well, we started out like late 80s, early 90s, like around 89, 88, 89. And we kind of piddled around, couldn't find a drummer to save our life.
Interesting.
Until I started working at the clubs. I got my first club gig at the Off Ramp in 92. It was November of 92. I got my first club gig at the Off Ramp. And it was from advice from a friend of mine who was already working in the club. His name is Johnny Davis. I hope you don't mind, Johnny, me giving a shout out to your name. But he's the one that gave me advice. He's like, well, if you want to be into music, you got to surround yourself with musicians, people who are actually doing it, people who are, you know, playing gigs, out playing live, becoming recording artists and doing that type of thing. You got to surround yourself with those type of people. He's like, go down to the Off Ramp, talk to Jan, who was the manager at that particular time, and give her my reference and she'll hire you. Sure enough, I went down there and she hired me on the spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so what was your first role there? Were you like putting sounds together, or?
My first role there was in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Couldn't get away from that Marriott experience. And so she threw me in the kitchen. I'm sitting there begging her, you know, I did not come down here to cook. I left cooking because
Yeah.
they didn't believe in my dream. In fact, my last day, I walked out of Marriott because the chef was like, you know, music is not in your future. The only thing that's in your future is, would you like extra cheese on that, sir? And I walked out that day.
Yeah.
And the next day was when my friend Johnny told me to go down to the Off Ramp, and I went down the next day and got a job down at the Off Ramp and surrounded myself by other musicians. And we finally, Walter Ego finally found a drummer who was actually just left a punk rock band, a pretty famous punk rock band out of Seattle called The Accused.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was their drummer on tour. And then when they came back from a European tour, he quit that band. The band kind of fizzled out and split up for a while. And he joined Walter Ego. So.
And then when you were in Walter Ego, was it mostly like covers? Did you do your own music?
That was all original.
I love that.
Got together.
I love that.
Not that I'm opposed to any covers. Mind you, later on, Walter Ego actually did some covers, and
yeah,
we kind of mixed up both, because my perception is that you do covers to bring people in, and then once you got them in, you hit them with your own original music because you got them in. So,
and I think that's a really good recipe for success too.
Yeah.
But like, one of the things I always love talking to musicians about is the muse. Because I really do believe that the muse is like a living, breathing thing.
Yeah.
And so in all of your bands and all of your creations, how has the muse visited you? Is it like, does it visit you with lyrics first? Does music come first and then lyrics? Or
it depends on what situation I'm in. I've done solo work. I've done various different band projects. It depends on whether I'm doing it solo-y, doing something solo,
yeah,
or doing something in a band setting when there's guitar player. I'm not a very good guitarist. I picked it up over the years. I actually own a pretty good guitar, but I'm not the best guitarist, but I write a lot of music on my keyboards, which these days you can make your keyboard sound like a guitar. It's so amazing, the technology that's out there now. And I've been kicking and screaming, trying not to join the 21st century forever. But after so many years of hitting my head up against the wall, I finally realized, in order to still do this musical thing, which is my therapy, that I have to join the 21st century and join the digital age, because not get left behind.
100%. And the reason I chuckle is because, like, when I first started this podcast, I wasn't going to do video. It was supposed to just be audio, and it was supposed to be very low key, very low tech. But then I learned, like, right off the bat, if you try to go that way nowadays, you get no listeners. Like, the way the system is set up now, if you're not embracing technology, if you don't have video, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, though, I'm not a big fan of AI in terms of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't wrap my head around auto tune. Like, I just, like, some songs I kind of get it. At the same time, like, it's just like I want to hear the raw voice and the raw talent of the musicians.
Well, maybe sometimes you don't want to hear
That's fair.
Which is probably why auto-tune was invented, right?
Yeah.
Speak of which, I'm really digging the Shure microphones that you're using here. Those are great microphones. I use them as well when I'm doing recording in my studio. So,
see, but how do you get that? So, like, one of the things I struggle with, though, with these microphones in particular, is to go between, like, musical performance and, like, talking on a podcast, because I always, for some reason or another, overmodulate when it gets to the live music. And I don't know if it's because of the cameras or because of the way I was set up, but, like, like, how important is, like, the right microphone, the right mixer, all of that when you're, like, producing and making music?
I don't think the mixer makes as much difference as the microphone does.
Okay.
You can you can get away with a little teeny 4-track mixer.
Yeah.
As long as you have the amp power.
Okay.
And the decent microphones in order to push it. So, decent microphone is everything. And mic placement. That's a big thing, especially if you're talking about, like, drums and acoustic.
Oh, interesting.
Drums and
yeah, because that's what blows us out all the time is the drums. Yeah. It's just way overpowering.
Yeah.
How interesting. So I'm thinking, like, maybe you need to point the microphones away from the drums?
No. Certain bafflings, like pillows, positioning pillows, and the way you kind of angle them, so they're offset sometimes a little bit, or pull it back a little bit so it's not right up on it.
Yeah.
Or right back here, So there's little tricks to the trade that I learned from my mentor, Don Dodge, at Northern Star Studios up in Seattle. God bless his soul. R.I.P. Don Dodge. Miss you, brother. But yeah, that guy was the man. He's run sound for everybody. And I mean everybody.
See, that's awesome.
Even and including Michael Jackson. For the Victory Tour, he was the sound man for that. So this was my mentor.
That's epic. And one of the things that I appreciate, too, is just how complicated the sound is when it comes to live performances. Because you have to get it dialed in. And it's one of the things that I appreciate about musical artists, and I've said this ad nauseum on this podcast already, is just, like, you have all of these different humans on stage, different views, different styles, different this, but somehow we managed to get them all on the same stage, and for that 2 to 4 hour period, everybody's on the same wavelength.
Hopefully. That's when it's good. That's when it's good, and that's when it's going great, when you can get everybody on the same page. It's a team,
Yeah.
It's teamwork, So when that can happen, it's beautiful. But when it's disastrous, it's just like any other failed marriage,
Yeah.
because it's like being married to 3, 4, 5 other people. You're involved in their lives. Um, they make commitments and break them, and then let the band down or let the group down or let, that it's all that stuff that has to come together too. So yeah, it, that's what is the most difficult about quote unquote making it in
Yeah.
music. Making it in music is relatively easy. Keeping everybody together and on the same page and on the same wavelength and making stuff happen like that's what's hard about it, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. And I've seen so I've been heavy into music the last couple of years now, like especially since I started this podcast, and the level of talent out there is pretty amazing right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like some of the bands that I see, and it's like way out of left field. Like I didn't see that coming, and I gotta hand it because I don't think a lot of people recognize how much work it takes to get to that point, because it's not easy.
It's not easy. It takes a lot of practice, but practice makes perfect. I always say that as a musician, I try to not practice until I get it right.
Yeah.
I try to practice until I can't possibly get it wrong.
I like that approach. It's different. It's a different mindset. It's a different mentality. It sort of leaves you. I like that.
All right.
So one of the things I was dying to ask somebody who sings metal, right? When you get to those screaming parts of the lyrics and like the high range part of it, like how do you do that without hurting your voice?
It's all in breathing.
Really?
Yeah, you got to learn how to breathe and take good, strong diaphragmatic breaths.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in the vocal world. I had to actually take vocal therapy lessons. I can't call them lessons. They were more like medical sessions, actually. She's teaching me how to breathe and using my full control of my diaphragm. And you just got to have enough breath support in order to produce those type of sounds. And so that's big. That's a big part of it.
Oh, and I guess I didn't even think about the fact that you're not using your full throat there. You're actually using your diaphragm and all kinds of other stuff.
You don't want to use your full throat, man. You'll do damage to your vocal folds doing that.
Oh, interesting.
A lot of singers make the mistake of using it.
Yeah.
Using their throat, having their voice be all right here in their throat, but yeah, that's the worst thing you can do. It's got to come from here.
How long did it take you to break that sort of from bringing it to your throat down to like the diaphragm?
To be perfectly honest with you, just recently. Recently, within the past 5 years, because I've started having those issues with doing damage to my vocal folds.
Yeah.
By doing heavy metal music the wrong way and not having enough breath support. So my throat is taking over, and that's never good.
See, and there's been like 4 or 5 songs in my rotation that I love to sing that I haven't been able to for quite some time because I haven't figured out how to do that. Because there's a couple of Disturbed songs I love to sing.
Yeah. Okay.
But I have that throat piece where after I'm singing it, my throat really hurts.
Yeah.
And so it's that's fascinating.
Got to learn how to breathe from your diaphragm.
That's fascinating.
I could show you one quick
thing
right now. What you do is you take your one hand and put it on your stomach, and then one hand on your chest, right? Mm-hmm. And then you take a breath with your diaphragm, which is right here on your stomach area. But you do that without making your chest move.
Okay.
It's just all right here.
Oh, that's challenging at first. That's almost like you're working out.
Yeah. You're engaging your core muscles in your belly. And
Oh, fascinating.
that gives you a full diaphragmatic breath, so you can push out those screams and those yells and screams and screeches and a lot easier. You can't not do any damage.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna do some damage doing that, but you're limiting that by taking full diaphragmatic breath. So
That's so fascinating. Thank you for that.
you're welcome.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you're on stage, right? And this is one of the things that I've heard, because I've interviewed a few people that were like in punk or heavy metal bands. And one of the things that they are surprised of is the difference between the audiences in Portland, Salem versus like the audience in Seattle or the audiences in California. And it's like, for some strange reason, you get to a heavy metal concert in Portland, there's no real mosh pit. And the first time I went to a heavy metal concert in Portland and I saw that there was no real mosh pit for some of these bands, and I was like, am I seeing this right? Is that something that you've experienced as well?
That is something I've experienced, and I think I attribute that to there's a lot of hippies in Portland.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And even the metalheads have a little hippiness rubbing off on them down here in Portland. So
yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of or attribute it to. A lot of people say that moshing kind of originated out of Seattle. I don't know that that's true or not or whatever, but
I've been in both. Yeah. like the mosh pit in Seattle for Pantera was insane. Insane.
Yeah.
And then I come down here and I'm at a Tool concert in Portland. They're all just sitting back, rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Tool's a little bit different from
that's
Pantera.
fair. That's fair too.
That's going from hardcore heavy metal to progressive metal, kind of, sort of, which is bringing me to my next point. I don't mean to change the subject.
Not at all.
I just started. Well, I'm starting with another guitar player friend of mine named Jordan, a heavy metal project that's progressive metal. That's kind of along the lines, if Tool were to marry up with like Pink Floyd.
Oh, I'm all in. I'm already all in.
Yeah, and I'm playing keys a lot on that one too. So
that's epic.
Yeah. It is pretty epic, and we're just now getting that down. And I'm sorry to mention, you mentioned earlier that you're on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah.
Both of my guitar players and my drummer are on the autistic spectrum.
Wow.
And they're phenoms.
I love it.
Best musicians I've ever played with. And I've been playing music now for over 30 years, 40 years, 50 years if you can include my high school years.
Yeah. That's epic.
Yeah.
Do you have a name yet?
House of Nix.
Oh, I am so excited.
Yeah.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
So, and are you going to be like doing a combination, like you were saying, like of like covers, but then also news?
No, this is all original.
Oh,
actually.
I love it. I am absolutely in love. That is so awesome.
I'm saving my cover bands for other projects. Like I'm starting another tribute band for Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time finding members because I want it to be an all black lineup, and I want to call it Blacker Sabbath.
Okay, that's freaking epic. That is freaking epic, and I love that. I love everything about it. That is so cool.
My drummer is black. The autistic drummer.
Yeah,
he's black, and he's a phenomenon. He's so amazing. Any style of music you want.
Yeah.
From like blues to jazz to like hardcore heavy metal. This guy is phenomenal. I will send you some little work that he and I have already done.
Yeah, I would love that.
All right.
Yeah. And anything that you want me to put on the end of this interview too, that's musically involved,
Okay.
I can add like up to like 5 minutes of your music
All right.
without getting hit or dinged because you're here and you're giving me permission. So
Yes,
anything
sir.
that you want to share,
Well, the sharing I would be doing would be stuff that's not actually
perfect. Not
it's
licensed.
it's not
Yeah.
licensed yet. So
I love it.
I'd be sharing it with you.
I love that. I love that. Was it hard sort of to transition sort of into the metal realm though? When you first started?
No, because I've always had a love of all music.
Okay.
I'm like I said, I'm writing a book or a story or a screenplay or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'm writing a movie script basically, and there's a scene in the movie where I'm in junior high school, right? All the white kids are in the front of the bus playing AC/DC's Highway to Hell, right?
Yeah.
All the kids of color in the back of the bus playing Michael Jackson's Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle going, I like them both, and trying to be recruited by both sides. You like our white music better, don't you, Walt? You know, and come on, Walt, you're like us. You know, you like hip hop and disco and funk better. And I like it all. You know, can't we all just get along? And then I cut to a scene where we're doing a cover of an old Jackson 5 song that starts off like really gospel-y, soulfully, right?
Yeah.
And then towards the end, it busts out into like, it's the best way to describe it. It would be like progressive rock. And it's an old 70s tune by the Jackson 5. It's called I Am Love. And I plan on doing that cover in this story, in this movie that I'm writing. And at the end of doing that song, where you have sides of both, doing music from both realms in one song, then my hope in the premise of the movie is to bring everyone together, whites and blacks, for the love of music. I am love, love, the I in I am love being music.
I really respect that. I really respect that so much. Like, I haven't seen a movie in almost 5 years.
Okay.
Because it's hard to find movies that aren't about just killing people.
Oh, yeah.
And so the idea and the concept of a movie like that, where you're trying to bridge those connections and it's just about music, I'm on board. That sounds like an amazing picture.
That to me is the only way that we could find peace in this country, in this world, in this.
Yeah.
Everything is through music, because that's something that every culture has, you know? So I think that that's the only way to find peace, is by relating to people through music.
And that's such a huge avenue to sort of start that conversation too, because like if you take music out of the equation, very, very rarely are you having access to spaces where you can come together regardless of political affiliation, regardless of religion, regardless of any labels, to just be in a space and enjoy an activity together. And we need so much more of that.
I agree.
Because what you see now on TV, you see now like most of the messaging is how divided we are. And in a lot of ways we are. However, what I'm finding is I'm talking to more and more people, we're so much more similar than the media would like us to believe.
Of course.
And music is the pathway for me. Because like I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Louis Roa, right? Phenomenal singer. He's Filipino. And he loses out on a lot of gigs because he's not that traditional look of what you would say as that singer. And so it's like, we still have a long way to go. At the same time, you know, I don't know, maybe I've lost the point, but at the same time, it's like, we need space to allow room for people like Louis to be mainstream.
Okay.
Because like your looks should not be a part of the consideration when it comes to talent. You know what I mean? It shouldn't matter what you look like. It shouldn't matter your view. Like if you have musical talent, you should be able to soar and provide that musical experience to people?
I think you can. I think if you can touch people with music,
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter how you look. Really.
Yeah.
If you're really good and you really touch people, people
Yeah.
don't care what you look like.
Yeah. And
In the long run, if it's good enough, you know.
100%. But I also say, like, you know, for me, for example, who's on the autism spectrum, right? I've struggled for many years to get along with people.
Yeah.
Not because of anything I'm doing. I just could not crack that social nut. I couldn't figure out like what to say, like all of these unwritten rules. But then you have music, and you have people who don't really care if you're autistic or not. If you're here and you love this music, here's a seat.
Exactly.
Let's
That's
vibe
my
together.
whole point.
Yeah.
Like my autistic drummer and guitarist, and those guys are phenomenal musicians.
Yeah.
Phenoms. And they have been since like the age of 7. Both of them started the same time I just started playing piano at the age of 7. So I wondered if I was on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And my autistic drummer, looked me straight in the face and was like, "Oh, I know you are."
Oh, that's great.
But I mean, I'll put forth to you this question though.
Yeah.
How many people would you know had it not been for music?
You mean like friends and relationships and all that stuff? Very,
Anything.
very, very few.
Anything, yeah.
Very few, if any. Yeah, if any. Yeah, I've got the friends from work, but those are just like work buddies who are all trapped in that sort of work environment.
Okay, yeah.
But then you have music, and just having this sense of community in music, but also being able to talk about music has opened up so many doors.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
I can't think of anyone who I know other than my immediate family that I don't know because of or through music.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that just dawned on me too. That's a huge thing. And how much my success in life can be attributed to music.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for music, I don't know if I'd be as successful as I am doing what I'm doing. Because that's music has been my outlet to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
That's why it's so therapeutic for me, you know, because
Yeah.
I thrive on human connection. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of the big reasons why I decided to come down here and do this with you, because we're talking about music, but I honestly thrive on human connection, and how I get there is usually through music.
And I can respect that so much, because it's the same way. Because like you said, that there's no gatekeepers in music. And well, there are, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gatekeepers are kind of dying off, especially with the advent of the home studio now.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Anyone can be a musician and be successful at it.
I appreciate that too. Yeah. But at the same time, though, one of the things that I do like, one of the things that I wish in terms of music is that I wish bands and artists at the lower echelon, if you will, got paid more. Because like I look at the pay scale and like a gig, and you're like making $100 a gig.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem commensurate. It doesn't seem fair with like rising prices and costs and things like that.
Everyday jobs are like that too, as well, though. But I tell you what, I'd rather get paid $100 to go play some music than get paid that same $100 to dig a 3-foot ditch somewhere.
That is very true. And for somebody who was in the Army and had to dig foxholes, that is 100% true. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I used to do landscaping, so we were like, ditching out trenches all the time, and
it's backbreaking work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget that one time we were out in the field, and we dug a foxhole. We got everything ready. So it takes about like 4 or 5 hours to dig out a real good foxhole. And the sergeant we had at the time, he walked up to us like, I don't like this. Move it over 3 feet.
Wow.
That's the Army way.
Yes, sir.
So what brought you to Salem from Seattle?
I'm not in Seattle. I'm in Portland now.
Okay. But you were you were originally from Seattle, right?
Originally from Seattle, born and raised in Seattle. Lived there most of my life. And in my 30s, I bounced around a lot. Lived in California a couple of different times in the Bay Area. Lived in Texas for a while. Lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia for a while. I bounced around all over for a minute there. And then I came back in 99 to Seattle to take care of my sick father in his last year of his life. And that's when I got a job working at Northern Stars with Don Dodge, that engineer that worked with Michael Jackson that I told you about. So that was me coming back to music because she always brings me back. After leaving for a while, I came back and then I got a job at Northern Star Studio with Don Dodge.
And once music is sort of in your soul or in your being, I don't think you can let it go.
Nope.
You know, I don't know if I could ever do it.
I would not be alive if I ever did that.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle this world mentally.
Yeah.
If it weren't for music. I couldn't.
I completely relate to that in so many ways. You know, it's one of those outlets in life that just sort of, it really does get you through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I was just talking about this the for the person who was here earlier.
Yeah.
My first album was actually Metallica Black, and I hated it the first 3 times I listened to it because I didn't get that anger was supposed to be a part of the music.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I hated it because I'm like, why am I feeling angry? I shouldn't be feeling angry. And then the third time I'm listening to the words, I'm listening to the music, I'm listening to musicality. Oh, I'm supposed to feel angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like this message, the lyrics, the song, they're supposed to be played when you're angry, upset. And it clicked.
Yeah.
And that was the change of it. But before that album, I did not have any access to music.
Yeah.
It was not a part of my dad's life. It was not an important part of our life growing up. But it wasn't until Metallica that sort of just changed the game for me.
It's interesting that you say that because that's a big reason why I delve in so many different genres.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in a sad mood, I don't want to listen to angry music.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a melancholy music, I don't want to listen to angry music. But if I'm angry, I'm damn right. I want to listen to some angry music.
Yeah.
So the different moods I'm in affect me. The music I play when I'm in different moods affect me a certain way. And so that's why I choose a different genre to,
Yeah.
basically set the mood for what I'm feeling for that particular moment. So,
and then in terms of like the projects that you're working on now, what would you say is your favorite?
Wow. I always come back to those old Walter Ego style of music, from the late 80s, early 90s. But this new band, House of Nix, man, stay tuned, y'all.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Uh-huh.
It's progressive metal. It's badass. Jordan is a phenomenal guitar player, and he wrote most of the music. And I'm working on some of the lyrics for some of the songs right now, and my keyboard parts, different writing of the keyboard parts and stuff. So, but yeah, and my drummer, like I said, Malcolm, the other autism guy in the band, it's a phenom.
And how important is the timing aspect of it? So, like, for example, so like you have a band like Tool, right, that plays with counts, they play with time signatures, they play with
Yeah.
all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got your sort of traditional ones, heavy metal bands in particular, where they're pretty
Yeah.
straightforward with the beat count.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep all of that straight as a singer?
As a singer, it's easy because it just goes along and along and along, and the rhythm of the melody and the harmonies that I'm singing just kind of happens as repetitive as my practicing
Yeah.
schedule goes. A friend of mine once said it takes 27 times for something to become a habit. It takes you doing 27 times doing something for it to become a habit. And I find that to be true with singing. But to be perfectly honest with you, as far as like keeping the beat and everything together, as far as that goes,
Mhm.
that's through practicing with metronomes and our drummer Malcolm. That guy is a human metronome in and of himself. So, phenom. I'm not kidding. Sometimes when we're in recording sessions, he'll lose the click track. I'll have to turn the click track off because he's so on it, the click track disappears. And he'll stop, be like, oh,
Where are the clicks?
yeah. Oh, it's because he's so on that sometimes the clicks disappear. And so I'll have to take off the click track and just use him because he's so on it
Oh, that's such a luxury to have.
due to his autism.
Yeah. That's
That
such a luxury to have.
he's a human metronome. I don't know how to describe him other than that. With chops. The guy is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
See,
I'll let
that's
you hear
awesome.
him later.
You got it. But then in terms of like musicality though, with some of the projects you have, because I know the Walter Eco that you were saying,
Mhm.
I'm not as familiar with some of the other genres that you've got going on. Because I
Okay.
know they got the heavy metal, but what other things do you have on the side?
On a lot of my stuff, I do solo-y now because it's kind of hard to find musicians that are in R&B and jazz and funk and soul in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
When I was down in California, those type of bands and groups were easy to come by. And so whenever I'm doing anything like that, those are cover projects usually, and I'm doing them on my keyboard. So
I get that. Because I can only think of one funk band in all of Salem right now, too. You know? Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Funky Beats Initiative. That's about the only one I know.
Oh, okay.
And outside of that, I don't think I know of a lot of people that are playing funk or soul or R&B.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like,
The Northwest.
Yeah.
You know, it's not very colorful.
yeah,
If you
I've
will.
noticed that. Yeah, yeah. Because I know I'm native on my dad's side,
Okay.
and then totally white on my mom's side. And one of the things that I've noticed in particular with Oregon, certain spots are really freaking racist out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one of those hard things to swallow because, like, you know, I'll be in a room and I get to hear what some white folks say
Yeah.
behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when I have enough power and security to speak up, I do. Sometimes you just don't have either. And you're like, oh, I wish I could say something right now, but I need this job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it, man. You know, just as recent as the 70s and 80s, there were sundowner towns in parts of Oregon. So no one of color was allowed even in Oregon State until the 1900s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And people forget about that shit, but it's important, you know,
Yeah.
because it sort of helps tell the tale about how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
And I have to credit the state of Oregon is leaps and bounds ahead of other places that I've lived. We still got a long way to go.
Still a long way.
Yeah.
Still a long way. We just bought a house recently, and in the deed, it says that no blacks or women's or Asians are allowed to purchase this house.
In the freaking deed?
Yeah.
Holy.
The house was built in 1945, right? And so that was, the deed was written back then. And so that.
How do you change that? Can you
Well, I don't think you can change it, but if someone tried to stop us from buying the house based on color, that we'd be able to sue the hell out of them. So we didn't pay much mind, other than saying to our agent, this is a load of crap. But they still didn't stop us from buying the house, obviously.
But my mind goes now that you've owned the house and you still have this deed, is there a way you can change that shit so it's not there for future generations?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oregon doesn't seem to care
right
about that.
Right? Oh, wow. that left a mark. Yeah, that left a mark. It's one of those things where it's like I'm hopeful that society gets to the point where that shit doesn't happen anymore, but I see it still too many times.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Look at all this crazy political stuff that's going on now. I'm like, okay, forget all the news and all the political stuff. I'm just going to try to focus only on music. But every once in a while, I have to admit, I have to say something.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. But it's so frustrating because I don't want to. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to see that because I want to bury my head in the sand and just concentrate on music. But that's hard at times.
Because it doesn't allow you to do that without it creeping in from some form or another.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like you don't even expect it to pop up. And some of the arguments that I've had on social media where I just shake my head and I'm like, you really believe that? Okay, you
friends,
do you.
Friends I've known for 30, 40 years are really not any friends anymore, because of politics and stuff like that. That's why I made my second page Walter Ego Brown on Facebook, because I got sick of the political stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a page that only concentrates on music.
Yeah.
But then I lied because I post every once in a while something that's political that, I just can't not say anything on, but I'm trying to just concentrate that page solely on music, but it's hard, man. It really is.
Especially when you see some of the misinformation out there, some of the stuff that people say, and it's like, wait a minute, that's just not true.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with a gentleman a little while ago about poverty and what it means to be living in America on poverty. And this person really believed that if you're able-bodied, you have every opportunity to be a millionaire. Really believe that to his core. And it's like, when you push back and you're like, that assumes everybody has equal opportunity at the gate. Not everybody has the same starting line. And until we recognize that not everybody has the same starting line, we can't hold people account to the finish line. It just doesn't work. The numbers never work. And it's like with poverty in particular, it's just so difficult to live and exist on what is financially available for most people these days. With the interest rates, houses are unaffordable. Food is outrageous. All of the costs associated just kept going up and up and up. And then now we're seeing that the news and all that stuff that we're lowering SNAP and we're making it more difficult for people to get food benefits. And it's like, I don't understand.
Meanwhile, our tax dollars are going to
killing people.
$millions ballrooms.
Yeah.
Golden ballrooms
and
stuff like that. And killing people.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
That's why I try to concentrate on music, because I can drive myself crazy thinking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Constantly.
And a friend of mine really kind of sort of brought it to my existence, brought it sort of, I believe now fundamentally what he says. And that's without shared power, we can't have peace. Because if you're really looking for peace, people need to have a shared responsibility and a shared power. And we need to be able to treat each other like human beings across the board. And until we can have shared power and shared vision and shared community, I don't know if we can have peace. And that's scary. That terrifies me. Terrifies me at times. Because like it's possible if we have the right mentality and the right mindset. I just don't know if we're going to get there.
No one has the same mentality and mindset, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I asked my doctor about what my friend Malcolm said about me being on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah, you probably are, because that's why they call it a spectrum.
That's not how it works. But that's right up there with it. Like, I hear all the time, like, the three things I hear all the time that drive me absolutely bonkers is you don't look autistic. I hear that all the time.
What does that mean? Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
The other one is everybody has a little autism in them. And I'm like, no. And the third one is when they just automatically think you're supposed to be like Rain Man. Those are the three things that bother me, and it happens all the time.
Yeah,
because that's what happens when you start from judgment.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to say though, my guitar player and my drummer are Rain Man like when it comes to their talent.
Oh, 100%.
Music.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I have never played with as brilliant musicians as these two.
And once you get to that hyper focus, like that's the superpower piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like there'll be times where I have the ability to hyper focus and I can get things done that I didn't think possible. But you have that sort of savant ability in some of us. But it, like you're saying though, it's like we struggle in other areas.
Yeah.
Like I've only gotten 4 jobs from job interviews my whole life out of like 400 and some odd interviews.
Wow.
Because I'm autistic and I can't do it. I cannot organize my brain into a linear memory when my memory is not linear. But all of the interview questions are, tell me about a time. Tell me about one experience. I think in patterns. If there's not 2, I can't spit it out.
Oh, okay.
And so the whole interview system is designed on a popularity contest and asking people to do things with their brains a lot of people who are neurodivergent can't do.
Huh.
And that's why our unemployment rate is at 85%.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. You shedded some light on me that I did not know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's also like why music and arts and drama, like if you have a kid on the autism spectrum, I always recommend music, drama, or the arts. Music, drama, or the arts. Uh-huh. Give them an outlet. Give them a place where they're going to be welcomed and supported, because outside of those areas, the academic competition, the social this is just setting them up for failure, because you're trying to get their brains to work in a way that their brains aren't wired. So if you alter the activities and you alter the experience to match how somebody's brain works, they can thrive, be successful, be amazing. But if you keep trying to put them into this box over here and saying, this is the job you need to be, but like my brain doesn't work that way. Like put me in a job with calendars and scheduling, I will fail. I have to hire somebody to help me with scheduling for this product. I don't have money. This podcast doesn't make money, but I pay somebody to help me with my calendar because my brain can't do dates and times.
I get you.
Yeah.
I have issues with certain things like that as well, which is why Malcolm looked me dead in the face and said, oh, I know you are.
Yeah.
But they didn't have tests and studies on that back when I was coming up. So.
Well, not only that, but when you were coming up too, the test for autism was based on typical white male pattern behavior.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not your typical white male, you're not going to get that diagnosis of autism. because they're trying to say, well, you're not acting like an autistic white male. Well, of
Yeah.
course not. You're black. You have your own culture. You have your own things, like all of this other stuff that's not even a part of the conversation.
Huh.
And so many people of color and so many people of minorities, women in particular, get misdiagnosed as not autistic because the whole test is based on white male behavior.
That's interesting because Malcolm is a black man, but
Mhm.
he was raised by a white family because he was a crack baby,
Yeah.
basically. And
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
his white parents adopted him and raised him to be his own.
And they were probably looking for that white typical behavior.
Yeah, and
he
that's
didn't
how he
exhibit.
got diagnosed, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like,
I'll have to ask him about that.
and if you talk to most women who have a diagnosis of autism now, they have been misdiagnosed with ADHD, personality disorders, bipolar, all of these other things, because the whole entry into a diagnosis, it totally excludes other cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. And it's such a disservice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So many people got left behind.
But that makes sense, though.
Mhm.
That's the way this country runs.
Yeah. 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 And we're starting to change it. So like the new diagnostics, for example, take into account gender roles, they take into account other cultures and things. So we're starting to just now in 2025 to have other avenues of diagnosis, other avenues of support. But up until like this last year, all of the research funding, all of the funding towards investigations and all of that stuff was just for children, and it was just to cure autism.
Wow.
There was no research on how to support adults. There was no research or money invested into how to making life easier for adults on the spectrum. It was all towards children. And then as soon as you hit 22, done. Like all of a sudden, like what? Autism goes away at 22? No, it doesn't. But the way the rules and everything was structured, at 22,
Wow.
you're now an adult and you're on your own.
Wow.
Yeah. The world we live in. Well, getting back to music, though. So, one of the things that I always love to talk to musicians about is like the whole after the concert thing, right? Because some musicians want fans to come up and talk to you and engage. Some bands, they're like, no, I'm out of here. Like, I'm on to the next gig or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you prefer your audience to come up and interact with you afterwards? Or?
Sure. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. Different people, different ideas, different, way the show goes, might have something to do with that. Yeah, it just kind of differs, but I'm always open to people coming up to me showing appreciation and me showing appreciation back to them for enjoying the show or whatnot or whatever, being there, all of that. So I love my fans. So,
and then in terms of like the stage setup, right? If you were to say like you're going to a venue, what would you like to see just like universally at every venue that would help musicians so much?
That differs and varies from the different size of the venue.
Okay.
If it's a small little bar or something, there's not much expectation. You just plug in and go. But if it's a bigger club, you want monitors, decent enough monitors so you can hear yourself separate from the house sound, from the stage sound. And, it just kind of depends on the size of the club, size of the stage, how many people's going to be there, because bodies absorb sound as well.
Okay.
So
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, that opened up a whole lot of things in my brainwaves. I didn't think about like the amount of people and how much sound that people absorb.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That's part of the connection, I believe, with musicians on stage and the sound that they're putting out to the audience, because the bodies of the audience are absorbing, and that's, to me, a energy connection that goes back and forth between the performers and the audience. That's the way I kind of look at it.
I appreciate that, because I also look at venues as like living, breathing things.
Yeah.
And like, as you go to a venue and you play, your memory and your experience is imprinted onto that venue. And the more musical acts that come through a venue, the more you can actually feel that connection.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going to the Ryman in Nashville, and that's where all of the like the number one artists would come through Nashville. And so I did the tour through the Ryman, and you could just feel all of the musicality
Oh yeah.
from everybody that's been there. And one of the things that I also like to talk to about musicians in particular is like, when you're on stage, like, do you concern yourself with like volume?
A good balanced mix
Okay.
with being able to hear the drums first and foremost, and having the vocals be able to match the instrumentation. Balance. Trying to find, there's a term that audio engineers use called unity,
Okay.
which is 0 at the EQ line, right? If you can have your EQ zeroed out, that means your sound is perfectly balanced between highs, mids, and lows.
Which has got to be like a monumental task depending on the venue.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's why you always see the EQ like in different various positions or whatever, especially if it's a graphic EQ.
Yeah.
I mean, think of those in like thirds. The left side is the bass, the middle is the mids, and the right side is the highs or the treble. And every graphic EQ is like that. And so you're cutting or boosting those frequencies in within those realms on each fader.
And do you find like depending on which genre that you're in, the EQ part is going to be different?
Yeah.
That's
Big time
fascinating.
bit different. Yeah.
So like if you're comparing like R&B to metal, for example.
Yeah. Because the bass is going to be heavier in R&B and funk and soul. Going to be more concentrating on the bass and the keys. The guitar is just kind of filling.
Yeah.
But in metal, the guitar's basically taking the forefront. So, yeah, it's going to be EQ'd differently because those frequencies are different. The bass frequencies are going to be on the left side of the EQ.
Yeah.
The vocals are right in the middle, which is kind of why the vocalist usually is in the middle.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And the guitars and everything else is going to be kind of in the higher frequency range. And that's how you adjust them.
And how important is it, like when you're on stage, the direction you're putting your amps?
It's huge.
Okay.
I talked about that earlier too,
Yeah.
because mic placement, different mic placements. Like if you're using mics for the guitar amps and stuff, you want to place it certain spots and positions to get the optimal sound and the EQ. So having those all work together and stuff. So
Because I remember like one of my favorite bands is the Nicky Jones band.
yeah.
And I would go to their practice all the time. And there was a seat in the practice area that was just like perfect. But then one day he turned his amp a little bit. And I was like, what's different?
Oh, yeah,
What's
okay.
different?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And depending on the size of the club, it's going to make a huge difference. Not so much if you're playing an arena show,
Yeah.
because your amp is usually just your monitor, because you're got it mic'd up for the house sound.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because you're shifting it through like an arena and stuff like that. It has to be a certain level just to make it through the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Well, we've been at this for well over an hour.
Yeah. We could go on and on all night. You mentioned something else that you wanted to talk to me about is my in-home healthcare work.
Yeah, that I'm so glad that you brought that up, right? Because one of the things that I just experienced, so I had surgery about like a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And one of the things that I asked for was for in-home care. One of the things I didn't get was in-home care.
Okay.
And my question is when it comes to people who need that in-home care after surgery, how the heck do you get it?
I don't know how you get it through other people, but the company I'm currently working through is called, well, can I plug them?
Yeah.
It's called Home Matters.
Okay.
And they're a private company that send people out to your home or your assisted living community to help out with your, assisted daily living needs.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Cause like that whole like first week and a half was the roughest experience in my life because like I thankfully had friends that came over and were sort of there to support along the way. But I remember like being alone for a few hours and you drop that remote. You're like, I guess I'm watching this channel now for the next 6 hours. And one of the things that I'm just learning now is that if you don't ask the right way, you don't qualify for that kind of benefit.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're trying to get qualification, someone else to pay for it or whatever. Yeah. But if you can pay for it yourself, Home Matters is the way to go.
Well, see, I guess the question is like, how many of them are private pay versus like insurance pay?
Yeah, I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't need home care. I'm taking care of them right now, but I just started this job. I'd be able to find out any information.
Yeah.
And be able to pass that along. I never really thought about that because I work for them, so I never thought about needing.
Yeah, and the question I keep getting is like, well, how and why, and like, because this job that you're talking about, the home care help, is such a needed thing.
Yeah,
like so many people could benefit from having that.
Yeah,
but nobody talks about how you find it, what it looks like what it actually entails. There's all of these sort of like hints, but then as you unpack the hospital, for example, they don't care about that.
No.
All they care about is getting you out the door.
Yep.
Your surgeon, they care about the surgery, and once that's it, they have one follow-up. That's all they care about.
Yep.
So nowhere in the system is anybody looking out for the patient and saying, a home care worker would be most beneficial for this person to get through this event.
Yeah.
It's very strange to me.
Like I said, I can find out any information as far as like how that goes, as far as like getting insurance to cover it, or is there some sort of sliding scale? I do believe the last assisted living community, they had a sliding scale rate for people who were on assistance.
Yeah.
And so, that was a way to get people in the building who needed assisted living care.
Yeah, because I was not about to, I didn't qualify for the rehab because it wasn't a, what do they call it? Wasn't a severe enough surgery. I don't know if I'm using the right words or not, but my surgery wasn't to the level where they said you needed a rehab center. And so it's like this interesting dance of like the medical community telling you what you can and can't have, regardless of what you need.
Was it the medical community or was it the insurance?
The insurance. It's always the insurance. Yeah.
It's always the insurance, my friend.
Yeah.
It sucks. And I really cannot stand the aspect that insurance companies are telling medical people what they can and cannot provide as far as like medicine and care and all that stuff. Those type of decisions should be made by medical professionals, not insurance professionals. And that drives me up the wall.
100%. Because like I've needed this hernia operation for about 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And the first year and a half I was with Kaiser Permanente. And Kaiser basically was saying, well, you're not in pain enough for us to have surgery on your hernias. And I'm like, how does that even equate? And then, of course, you switch over to the one I have now, and like, yeah, we'll get you in right away. Like, you need to do this. It's a medical necessity.
Wow.
Still took me 7 months to get the surgery done.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like you learn all of these things about what the insurance companies are doing to stop people from getting medical treatment. And it's like,
it's maddening, man. It really is.
When did we go from patient care to capitalists?
It's political. It's
political. Yeah. And yeah, I could talk about that for hours and days.
Yeah. So can I. But,
yeah. Because like nobody from a position of power should be able to tell you what drugs to put in your body, what surgery you can and can't have, basically anything about your own body autonomy. If a doctor says you need it, it's necessary, and you agree that it's necessary, that should be it. That should be it. End
Everywhere else in the civilized world is that way.
Yeah, right? And it's like, my dad lives in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And it's that way in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
If the doctor says go, you go. And that's about that. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So strange. Anyway.
All right.
We've been at it almost an hour and a half now. So
let's wrap it up. But
where can people go to find your music?
It's still in the development stages as far as the new projects are going. I have a band that I've been a big part of, the major vocalist in for the past 25 years or so. You can find that band on Reverb Nation. That band is called Theft of Reason.
Okay.
It's a bluesy hard rock. Can't call it a metal band, but it's bluesy hard rock. But it delves in a few different other genres as well. So you can find that band on Reverb Nation. That's pretty much the only thing I have online on the digital world right now. But like I said, we're working on this new project, House of Nix,
but people can still go see you on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
What's your title on Facebook?
Walter Ego Brown.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure I got that out there.
Or I have another Facebook page that has a lot of my pictures and stuff on shows that I've played in and stuff. So yeah, I can't think of the tagline on that Facebook page because I haven't used it that much because like I said, I tried to get away from the politicalness of my other page and was doing just music in this new page. But yeah, House of Nix will be posting stuff very shortly. We're working on recordings as we speak. So.
I'm so excited. I'm all geeked out by it.
I can send you files that are not done yet, but
whatever you send me and give me the okay to put at the end of this interview,
okay,
I will put at the end of this interview.
All right, sounds good.
100%. And I will end this podcast the way I always end this podcast. Be kind, people.
Yes.
We all share the same air. We live in the same planet. We need love and caring and compassionate for each other, and come with curiosity and leave judgment at home.
Support each other.
100%.
We're all we have.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean. It's been a pleasure.